To the next business session on the themes social media and signal or noise for HR. I now invite the distinguished speakers to take their place on the dais. Ms. Anusha Shetty, CEO, Autumn Worldwide Bangalore. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, as we have our speakers. And we also have Mr. Kiruba Shankar, CEO, Business Blogging Private Limited. May I request Ms. Anusha and Mr. Kiruba Shankar to take their place on the dais. Ms. Anusha Shetty has over 20 years of core experience and a transnational career which has seen her work both in India and Silicon Valley of America. Ms. Anusha is the co-founder and CEO of Autumn Worldwide. She has extensive hands-on experience in advertising, having served for brands like Titan, Intel, Unilever, and various other globally reputed agencies. Having worked on both sides of the fence by serving as an agency and being a client, she possesses the rare verve of bridging the gap between strategies and new thinking. Autumn Worldwide is a social media marketing firm offering both social analytics and social outreach. Their portfolio of clients extends from Mitsubishi to Infosys, to Enomore, to the Murugappa Group, and to Kevin Care, and much more. Welcome to you, Ms. Anusha. We also have with us Mr. Kiruba Shankar. He's an entrepreneur, social media consultant, speaker, author, teacher, podcaster, and a farmer. He's the CEO of Business Blogging, a social media consultant firm. He also heads Vaksana Farms. I hope I got that right, sir. A farming venture, and Vedur Books, a publishing house. He has authored 4 books and is working on the next. He has written articles in leading business newspapers and magazines. He runs various projects catering to diverse interests such as Kiruba TV, Kiruba FM, Cerebrate, Sponge, etc. He's passionate about comics, antiques, and vinyl records. So over to Ms. Anusha Shetty.
Yeah, thank you. Just give me a second. Let me just... Hi, friends. My name is Anusha, like he said. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Can you all hear me? Can you hear me without this? Okay. Yeah, no. Okay. Yeah. So, you know, it was really nice to listen to Ganesh, and I can't see him, but I must thank him because, you know, at TCS, I'm sure the challenges are larger, but even in a firm like ours, which is, what, we're 60 people, I can already see a lot of people integration-related issues. So I'm actually very happy I sat through his session. So thank you, Ganesh. I'm not sure if you're still here, but thank you. Sorry I missed Venkat's session, but yeah, so, you know, it's really nice that I'm here standing in front of all of you, speaking on a subject, which is the buzzing subject today, right? So everybody is talking about social media in a very big way. And I'm actually here to talk on this particular subject and share with you my views, our views as Autumn in terms of what is the role of social media in a HR person's life. Yeah, so what I'll do is, even before starting, I'm just going to ask you all, can I assume everybody here is in HR? Everybody's in HR? Okay, is anybody doing anything in social media already as a part of your HR role? Just to, please, I'm going to request you to be a little interactive because I don't want to bore you with you know, details that you may not want to listen to. But is anybody doing anything? Do you have a Facebook page, let's say? Are you doing any kind of conversations? Do you have some social policies, anything? Or can I just assume that I can start from scratch on this? Can I start? Okay, thanks. So definitely, yeah? That's working. There's a compatibility issue, right? There's some issue? Do you want to just copy these files onto something? I'm not sure if it'll work, but no, I didn't carry a pen drive, so can we just quickly shut this off and start? But multiple files are there. But there are multiple files, right? Yeah, that's okay. It is good. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Sorry for this, inconvenience. But I was just, wondering. He was talking about infants, and we're actually talking about a world which is today part of our organization, and their media habits, their style of being, their style of existence is completely changing, right? I just had a video, and I'm hoping this will come through. Yeah, it's coming through. What I'll do is actually play you a quick video to show you what a employee does and how this person actually exists. And I'm talking about an infant employee. I'm actually borrowing that word. I like it. What this person does, how does this person operate his or her life? How has social media become so part of this person's life, right? How does this person operate? So let's just look at this video. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
OMG, I have to tweet this.
Hey, you will never guess. You just followed me back.
Checking in. Hey, Siri, what words can I make with the letters F, J, U, and A?
I found 12 places matching words in San Jose, California.
That's
I
Siri.
didn't see it. I only watch YouTube. 75 new likes overnight? so adding you to my circle. What the hell's up with my cloud score? Instagram! Guess I should tweet the power company. It's Community Manager Appreciation Day. A little respect? I need a share.
Hey, where you want to go to lunch?
I'll Yelp it! You call that worth a retweet? It's your birthday? I didn't see it on Facebook. Are you sure?
Oh, hey.
Hey.
Do you want to, hang out?
Yeah, sure. Let me get back to my desk and get on Google Plus and we'll hang out. Come on. Engage.
Yeah, so that's what an employee behaves like today. Is a very, very different person out there from the kind of people that we were when we were growing up. Everything is connected to this social world. They love sharing with everything that they feel on a Facebook, or they like commenting on YouTube. They like tweeting, so much so that people are happy dating on Google Circles. So this is the kind of employees that we're actually looking at. These are the kind of people who are joining us today and looking at Ganesha's charts again, and the kind of people, the number of people that people are adding. And this is a breed of people that we're actually adding. So which means that there is something happening in our lives, right? As HR people, we are managing a very different kind of people today. And if we need to understand them, and it's very important to be able to align ourselves to them, to be able to do our people function a lot better. So that's a quick look at what an employee does today. But let me show you another video, and this is really to show you where we stand as HR, and what our role is and how can we deal with this whole thing, right? So let me just show you this video. So here's a video of this magician. A lot of people seem to be coming to him, and he seems to be having answers for everything.
Dag Fien. Het is Kiruba. Ik zie een school tegen Antwerpen.
Ja.
Insecten.
Alsjeblieft.
Ik voel twee insecten op uw rug. Kan dat?
Ja, vlinders.
Slovenië?
Zo hè.
Een moto. Oranje. Pas erop. Zenit.
Oui, oui, bien.
Je hebt een vriendin. Julie de...
Ja.
Een boeiend liefdesleven. 3, 4 zelfs.
Die vierde, daar zwijg ik meestal over, dus dat weten niet veel mensen.
Hoe is het met je spierscheur? Maison rouge, balcon, blanc. Ja. Ik zie geld, ik zie transacties, maar kent je rekeningnummer van buiten? Ik denk dat ik het wel weet. Die staat wel negatief op je bankrekening.
Ja?
9-7. Last month, you spent €200 on alcohol. Vorige maand €300 aan kleding gespendeerd. 8.
Ja.
5. Voor een huis dat van eigenaar gaat veranderen. €795.000.
Ja, maar eigenlijk.
41.
Ja.
Is dat juist?
Ja, dat is juist. Oh my god. Oh nee. Ah, dat is, ik weet niet hoe eng.
Yeah, so, the point that I was trying to drive through this video is not that you need to get into personal lives of your employees. That's not the point. But I'm trying to say that, your employees are online, and there could be insights waiting for you out there. There could be learnings waiting for you in there. And I guess the point here is to actually see what can we use social media for in our lives, and how can we use this effectively. If this medium is so big and it's so dynamic and it's so buzzing and everything out there is so larger than life, what is the role of social media in our life, and that's really what I want to talk to you about. So what I've done is actually put together a couple of statistics. I'm sure most of you are already aware, but I thought I'll just put this big picture in front of you before we actually get into social media and what we can do with social media. Here's what Facebook looks like, right? This is worldwide statistics, and we know Facebook is really, really big, right? Almost 1 billion, right? Monthly active users, and that's really big. So this is Facebook for you. This is Twitter for you. 500 million accounts, 175 million tweets a day. 1 million accounts are added to Twitter every day. Now that's big. Look at the kind of transactions that are going on Twitter, right? And your employees are on it, right? That's how these numbers are getting really larger and bigger. Look at LinkedIn, right? Something that's very close to HR fraternity. 2 new members join every second. USA obviously leads membership. 60% of its members live outside of USA. In 2011, there were 4.2 billion professionally oriented searches on the LinkedIn platform, right? Somebody was searching to find people there. The fastest growing demographics are students and recent college graduates. LinkedIn is the 36th most visited website in the world. And this is YouTube. Again, extremely larger than life and big, right? 2 billion views per day. Look at that. Look at the number. People spend an average of 900 seconds per day. Where is this time coming from, right? So something is happening somewhere. Is it moving from media, other media habits? Is it moving from productivity time? What's happening? Why are people spending here? And how are they doing this? Research also shows that specifically in India, 52% of Facebook users log in from their smartphones. So we know that companies are actually not allowing for employees to get onto social platforms from the corporate networks, but there's a smartphone. 52% of India's Facebook population comes from a smartphone user. Specifically India, let's just look India because we're really talking India at this point of time. We have 61 million people on Facebook, 61 million people. And if we think that they're only coming from, and in terms of penetration, which is 61 million being really big, but from a penetration perspective, it's really very small. It only constitutes to around 5% of India's total population, really, yeah. So that's, this is showing you how many men and women are in it. If you look at India specifically, there's predominantly a male-dominated world yet on social media. Look at the cities that are rated as the top cities, the kind of numbers associated with these cities. And if we believe that this is true of only big cities, let's look at the smaller ones. We actually did we have this engagement with Facebook, which allows us to pull out data from their servers. So we actually picked a place like Buldana, it's in one part of Maharashtra, one corner of Maharashtra. And I was actually surprised that there were some 8,500 people in Buldana who are on Facebook, right? So that's the kind of participation that's happening from all parts of India, really. And so this is the number of people on Facebook. Yeah, this is what I told you, 52% of India's population, yeah, Facebook population connects through a smartphone. In terms of LinkedIn, it is the second biggest country on LinkedIn after USA. Twitter is equally big. So this is all specific to Twitter. And so I guess what are we saying? So it's very obvious that our employees are changing. They're no longer the same kind of people that we used to work with many years ago. It's important to align and understand them much better because they're a different breed. Unless you have this grown-up son or daughter at home, it's very difficult to connect with this set of people. The second thing I'm saying is that clearly, statistics shows that the numbers are very large and it can't be ignored anymore. And these people are coming into your office as infant employees, right? So they're coming into our offices. So 2 large reasons why, because people is a HR parameter, it's very important for us to look at it and say, what is social media? What can we do with social media? How is it going to impact our lives, really? Yeah. So I have a couple of things here to share with you. The first thing. We're not saying you play Big Brother, but you should know what your employees are talking about, right? So, which is what I spoke to you about the video too. We're not saying that we need to get into people's personal lives. That's not our problem. We have no right to even interfere in people's personal lives. But we definitely need to know what they're talking about, right? So they're your employees. They could be talking about your brand. They're your brand ambassadors going out there and speaking. And it's important for HR people to know what they're talking about. No, you need to be in the know, right, about this whole thing. Let me show you some examples. So what we're saying is that it's important that you listen to what employees are talking about. So I can give you examples. We've actually removed all the brand names, so you will not see the brand names. We've used X, Y, A, B, C, D, whatever. But you will find conversations in the social space. I'm giving you examples of the kind of conversations. For example, XY believes employee first policy. They will rob their employee first and client later. Right? Imagine a brand name there. People are actually posting these kind of things. You'll be shocked by the kind of conversations that is happening in the social space about brands, about companies, about anything and everything. Right? This is a beautiful world open out there. Right to speech is a democratic world out there on social media, almost rather. Until the recent incidents started to happen. But yeah, so this is it. So somebody says vote for XY as the most, it need not always be complaints. It could be positive things. Somebody could be saying nice things about the brand, about the company that you represent. But as a HR person, do you think you should know what your employees are talking about? Or do you want to be the last person to know about it, right? So I remember many parents complaining about their kids, right? So, there's this daughter, son, has a boyfriend, girlfriend, and I've often heard a lot of people saying that, I never get to know these things. I'm the last to get to know, right? Similarly, as HR people, employees are your people function, and you can't be the last person to know what they're speaking about in the social space. You need to be on top of things. So that's the first point that we're making, saying that you should probably listen to what your employees are talking about, yeah? These are some more examples of the kind of conversations they could be having. Going to attend a talk with seniors. It takes guts to face the employees, hats off, right? It could be something like that. Or I didn't expect my work to have such a boring environment. Well, work is work. You'd rather know about this, right? You'd rather know about this. Not that you want to pull up this person, and we can talk about this in the end. What do we do with this information? How do we, actually handle this as HR people? How do we equip ourselves to handle these people, these issues, these challenges? But right now, the first thing is to actually listen and understand even if your employees are talking about the company, the brand, the people, the seniors, because they are your brand ambassadors. What they say cascades to many, many friends who are on their page, and this message definitely spreads like a viral, and that's why it's called viral communication here. Yeah. The second thing that I'm talking about here is that 140 letters, and we're saying 143, but 140 letters, right? Twitter allows you to, have limited number of letters as you speak about a particular subject. But never has it been so potent that such limited letters in the social space can actually give result to something so big and impactful. Now let's take an example here, and as an HR person, you're trying to find somebody with a specialized skill, right? Let's assume that you're looking for somebody in the energy sector. You're trying to find somebody. IT, like you said, is quite easily identifiable. There are headhunters specializing in this particular skill set. So there could be specialized skill sets that you may be looking for, and you may not know where these people are. It may not make sense to release an ad. But here's a beautiful platform for you to actually listen so you can hire the best talent. Right? How do you do that? For example, let's assume that we have an influencer, right? So you're looking for somebody who's a specialist in the energy space, and you want to bring this person because you have an opening in the energy space, right? It's very easy for you to actually go out there, listen to conversations, track the person who's an influencer in that space, look at those people and say, okay, here's the possibilities of us hiring this kind of talent, right? You can actually contact them, network with them, invite them for a discussion. Sometimes the most difficult hiring challenges could be solved just because you were listening and you were able to identify the right people at the right time purely because you were able to hear them. Here's an opportunity, right, for us. On one side, we're saying listen to your employees because they could be talking about you. But the second thing I'm saying is that if you listen, you may be actually able to identify the right kind of skill sets. Extremely critical sometimes with challenging domains. I've heard, we handle work for Wipro and Infosys. Very often I hear people telling us that, there's certain specializations very difficult to get. How do we get them? What do we do? It doesn't justify a ad cost, right? Sometimes you don't want to go and release an ad just purely to get this one or two people. But this is a perfect place to go out there and, So, agencies out there actually monitor, they find influencers for you. Through influencers will be able to find this talent and kind of, help you get those credentials into the company for an interview. Yeah, so that's the possibility. The next thing I'm saying that we can do as HR folks is that like I say, now find everything about a candidate on a wall, right? You've hired a person, and we know that we go through this normal process of referral checks. I'm sure all of us have intermediary agencies who do these referral checks. Very often these calls come to me. People quit my organization, they go into another company, I get a call. Most of us are nice people, right? Most Indians are nice people at the end of the day, and we want to say nice things about people. Unless this person is unethical, has gone out and murdered somebody, or done something totally wrong, most of us would like to wish well on another person. So this is the truth. You may have a reference check, and you may have an intermediary company doing a reference check for you, but it works only to kind of get some facts and figures out. Let's talk about issues. Let's talk about stuff like social skills, for example. Two people with the same kind of educational qualifications, same kind of experience. Let's assume two people at the final stage of a recruitment process, right? And we know that there's one person who's got the right scores, done everything well, but there's a second person who's got all those scores, but also has fantastic communication skills, right? So now the chances of the person with fantastic communication skills or better soft skills, and the chances of this person aligning into your organization, making your company more successful is higher. Now, how do you find this, right? So here's this option, right? So you can actually use social media to do your referral checks in many different ways. These are public conversations. These are conversations happening on a public platform. You don't have to intrude into a personal world, but this allows you to actually get a sense of whether this person is the right kind of a person for your organization or not, such that your attrition levels don't really go up so high. You're able to actually qualify one more level before you actually hire this person into your system, right? So here are examples, imagine this person's just gone in and says, haha, thanks, however, it's just a stopgap arrangement as of now. Not actually what I was looking for. And you've actually made an offer on this person, right? These are actual tweets I'm talking about, right? So we pulled this off. I've actually just covered off the brand names there so that, we don't have to talk about them. But I'm saying this is not what you want, right? This could have been a disaster check for you, and you didn't have to bring in, incur the cost of actually recruiting this person, inducting this person, and going through this whole process, and actually realize this person was looking at you as a stopgap arrangement, yeah? So it's a great platform for referral checks. It works really well. You don't have to necessarily look for skills like this. You can even look for communication skills. You can actually figure out a whole lot of things which are very integral to the company and its value system, really. Yeah. So this is the other thing that we can do. Here are some more samples of the kind of conversations that come in for a referral check. Whether it's to do with bad language. It's a choice we have to make. I'm not saying it's important for everybody, but everybody has their own value system. And you need to make a choice in terms of what's right and what's not right on this whole thing, right? So this allows you to actually do this referral check. Like always, turn to a friend to gather the latest trends and updates. The social platform is also a fantastic source of information for HR people like all of us here, really. Yeah, it's the first place. Anything that happens, the first thing that you will hear about it is in the social space today. Everything gets tweeted, everything gets spoken about, everything gets blogged about. So really, it's the most beautiful platform for us to actually be on top of things, right? It's a place for trends and updates. Again, samples of the kind of trends and updates that we kind of picked up and put it up, Or for the events that are coming up. There's so many events. Take TCS, for example, or, take anybody. And there's so many best practices all over the world. And unless we, we keep track of everything that's happening, it's sometimes really difficult to do that. And this is a place to actually gather these trends and information. And it's a great learning point for us. Competition, right? Everybody wants to know what competition is doing, and very critical again. And again, a perfect place for us to keep an eye on what's happening. If it's TCS, if it's important, everybody likes to keep an eye on competition, and it's the truth. So this allows you to actually get a feel for the organization and what's happening inside those organizations, right? What I'm actually sharing with you are all actual tweets, really. Whether people love them, they don't love them, what's happening. There could be learnings everywhere for us. It is rumored that employees take to policy changes more easily in the social space. What really means is that there's so much of insights and learnings that are happening out there. I think it will allow us. Now, the biggest trend, and this is a subject of discussion in every organization really, is about social policies. What is the role? Do we have to, if we are listening to our employee conversations, is that ethical? Is that allowed, not allowed? Do we need a policy? Do we need to inform our employees? Is that okay? So these are questions that have been coming up, and this can be addressed through a social policy, right? So more importantly, insights are in these conversations. It's important to look at it, and maybe you will just develop a better work environment policy. It could be something as simple as, something that somebody spoke about, fire, for example. Fire broke out in our company today. It took 2 hours to put off the fire. I'm surprised we are so-and-so certified, and whatever. So maybe there's an insight for us to go and fix something that, that we've been ignoring. I think it's a great platform for us to actually pick all these signals even before they become really big and serious. So the last thing that I want to speak about is, while I've been talking to you about listening in many different formats and how just listening to conversations that are happening in the social space can help us as HR professionals to do our job much better with this new world that's joining our organization today, can we also proactively trigger a kind of an employee engagement, or can we create a better workforce using social platforms? And this is something that everybody is exploring today, and this is the part that I want to talk about, which is, can we use these social platforms like Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and how do they actually help us create a better workforce? And many organizations are already doing that. You'll find a lot of employee-related engagement initiatives being driven on their Facebook pages or YouTube pages, a lot of recruitment-related messaging are happening on Facebook. The only point that I want to show, while I'm sure most of you out here have a Facebook page specifically to do with employees, potential employees, existing employees, there are a few things that we should definitely keep in mind. I've noticed a lot of my clients or a lot of people that I speak with believe that Facebook is social media. So just opening a Facebook page is not about being in social media. It's about using this really well. Like everything requires a strategy. Everything needs big thinking. Everybody needs to have a holistic thinking towards an execution. You need a strategy here. Unless you know what you want out of this medium, it will not give you the kind of results or metrics that you're looking for. If you're looking at social media or a Facebook page just to chat, talk, or just provide this platform for everybody to just mix and talk and be happy, and that's your goal, that's what you're saying. If you're looking at it to attract the right kind of talent, then that's your goal, right? So whatever your goal is, define that goal. Definitely the medium is extremely potential. I've been in lots of conversations where we're talking about employee engagement related initiatives working in a social space. Why is it that, I'm sure you've all heard of the employer brand challenges where, people release an ad, even large organizations, right? They come back and tell us that, I release an ad today and I'm actually happy. I'm not, it's really not about getting the right kind of results or the right kind of CVs, but I know that my employees are very happy to see the ad in the paper, because they go out and tell their parents, they go out and tell their in-laws, they go tell their friends that this is this company. And again, I'm not talking about the large brands in the space who are quite well known. Very often, let's look at employees working in a mid-sized firm, or a firm which is not so well known for whatever it is, right? So ads do the trick, right? So similarly, you can actually move that entire engagement onto a platform like Facebook, but you have to choose your goals if that's your strategy. I've had organizations talking to me about saying, can we just build awareness for our brand and who we are and what we do on this particular page? Because I believe if people know us better, we will be able to attract better talent. So that's your goal. So unless you have the right strategy, and just posting messages on Facebook will not give you the kind of results that you're looking for. So Facebook, social media is much larger than just Facebook. Facebook is just one aspect of this entire thing. And I think it's important to define what you want out of your social space so that you're able to use this towards, I know that many of these large IT organizations are building platforms of a Facebook equivalent, but more from an inter-employees perspective, right? Saying that it's important for employees to bond with each other because this is where the engagement is happening. But we don't want them to go and talk on a public page like a Facebook page. But can we do this, on a similar platform like Facebook? But can we do that internally to the organization. So people are building lots of options, solutions, platforms for employees to engage with each other and create that bonding that's critical for them to be retained. Facebook and other social platforms work really well, and I've noticed very often that most often the employees of the organization are the followers on a Twitter brand, let's say, or why is it that they're doing? They love to follow their own brand, and so it's a platform where you can talk to them about certain things that you can talk to in a you don't have to talk best practices, you don't have to give away confidential information, but you can actually use the platform to send out the right signals that you want, and makes them happy, it makes them more engaged and bonded really. Yeah, so do have a strategy in place if you want to go out and and please remember this is a two-way process, and that when you say something, expect a reply back, because it's meant to be two-way process. Otherwise, it would be advertising. So, and if they speak to you, remember that you have the responsibility of speaking to them again. So yeah, so that's what you should be doing. And here's some things that you should remember. Just not Facebook. Try and explore others. YouTube works really well. I've seen Microsoft do some fantastic, employee engagement related initiatives on YouTube, and I think it's really nice. So there's a lot of things, other platforms have tremendous strength. Try and use them effectively. It's a sum total effect that gives you the result that we're talking about really. Definitely needs to be creative, because any bland communication doesn't work. You need to be creative, and that's when it goes viral. And yeah, a like-minded community is the dream of every HR professional, and that's what you can achieve if you're able to do this. So this is really what I had to share. So just to quickly summarize, what I'm saying is that social media is big. It's big with your employees. There are things that you can do by just listening to them. You can either use them for referral checks, or you can look at them for trends. You can look at them for hiring talent. You can look at them for, just being on top of things as employees to create new policies. There are things that you can do just because of listening. And the second thing that you can do is actually proactively go out into the social space and build that engagement using creative platforms on platforms like Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. Really. Yeah, that's really. You're going to change it?
So there was this HR manager who was walking by a beach, and he sees something shiny out on the sand. He bends down, picks it up, and realizes it's a small lamp. So he dusts off the sand, and he was rubbing it, smoke bellows out. It becomes bigger, and out comes a magic genie. And he says, "Master, your command is my wish. I will make it come true." And this guy is a very patriotic guy. So he says, "I'm sick and tired of the Chennai roads, so I want absolutely beautiful, well-paved road all across Chennai. Oh, wait, let's make that every city, every town, every village in India." The genie's eyes popped out, twang, and he says, "Master, do you know how much cement, gravel, and effort it will take? Can you think of something smaller?" This guy's considerate. So he says, "Okay, I'm a HR guy. I want to completely understand social media. I want my organization and my employees to understand social media, and we should do this perfectly." The genie comes a little closer and says, "Master, about the road, do you want 6-lane or 8-lane? So I understand it can be tricky. So the topic is social media a noise, or is it a signal? Is it good, bad? And for that, just before that, I want to tell you that I'm a big believer in the wisdom of the crowd. Huge believer in the wisdom of the crowd, which means that the collective intelligence of all of you sitting here is just far greater than any one guy. In fact, so much is my belief that this is the book that I authored exactly on the subject on unconference. So I want to walk the talk. It's so easy for me to slap up a 67 presentation deck. I mean, I can still do that. But instead, we'll not do it. We'll do it a little bit more interactive, fun way. It's an afternoon. So this is what I want you to do. Show of hands. How many of you think that social media is bad and it's a noise? Raise your hands. That's 1, 2, 3. The rest of you think it's all good, right? Man, we are such good liars. Huh? Okay, so it need not be black and white. That's a good one. So it's good and the bad. Good and a bad, sort of like our Pierce soap. We take bath. It smells nice. Do you know that? It's really nice. You take bath, but you also know that as you take bath, and there's a lot of chemicals out here, and it drains down into the ground, into the very ground where we sump in our motor and suck out water to take bath again. We know it's bad, but it's difficult to change. And I think that's exactly what social media is. It has its good, it has its bad. You know it's bad, but it's difficult for you to change because it's a huge transformational process. All right? So one of the ways what we wanted to do was to see what is so bad, what is so good about it. And for that, I want all of you to close your eyes right now. All of you to close your eyes. I am looking at you. And I want to ask yourself, what is the one single biggest benefit of social media from a HR perspective? And think of just that one super important, the number one thing. Continue to keep your eyes closed. Question number 2. What do you think is the biggest danger that social media can bring to an organization? Thank you. By show of hands, if you want to, let's start with the second thing first. Can somebody, I'm sure all of you have a list out there in your mind. Do you want to just open up and say, what is the single biggest danger or the noise from social media for an organization? Do you want to just, yes? It's a complete waste of time. It's the biggest time sink, right? I'll tell you what, I used to be working in an organization and we used to occupy the entire second floor of Tidal Park and we called it Asia's biggest cyber cafe, right? So I completely agree with you. It's a big waste of time. Yes, ma'am. If people talk bad about your brand, it will pull down your brand name, malign your brand. That's great. Anybody else? Yes, sir, at the back.
Competition will hear the voice of your employees probably sometimes before you would hear it.
That's right. That's a brilliant one. So let me give you, that's an excellent statement. Let me give you an example of what happened. A CEO of a company, his name is Vishal Gondal. He is CEO of India Games. He buys a brand new Audi Q7, or not brand new, it's about 6, 7, 8 months old car, and gives his car out for service. And then in the night, he's woken up through messages that comes in his phone, and he wakes up and says, your car is overspeeding, and this is like somewhere in midnight. So he's like, what the hell, I gave my car out for service, why is it speeding? So he gets very suspicious. So he logs on to his GPS system because he's installed the GPS machine on his car, and it says it's gone on for a 5-6 hour joyride across Bombay and spent most of the time in the Kurla scrap market in Bombay. That's the equivalent of our Chennai, what is that place called? General Patterns. That's where you buy, but there's another one. But you get the idea. So this guy gets really suspicious, so he tweets about it. The entire Twitter sphere, Facebook fans all pounces upon Audi. And then Audi is caught back foot because they didn't know what to do. They tried keeping quiet. It'll die down, but it snowballed into a bigger thing. And guess what BMW does right at the middle? They figured that Vishal Gondal does not have a car, and it's still out there in the controversy. They send him a BMW Mini to him, saying that here's your car until you get your Q7 back. Competition, listening out there, and they made the most of it, right? So that's a great point, sir. Thank you. Somebody else? Yes. What is bad? What do you think is really bad? Let's move on to the good one. Why do you think you like social media so very good? Why? And why should organizations continue to pursue social media?
Provide some real informal connect where people talk about openly.
Okay, you mean?
I'm working at a U.
Uh-huh.
I may have some difficulty in telling exactly what I feel.
Okay.
But in between the lines, I may show a certain thing. You can get from that.
Okay, you can decipher what I'm trying to say, right? Anybody else? Yes, ma'am. Shout out. Visibility for the company, for the individual. Exactly. So I think that's an excellent point that I like. So for example, I don't know if you can really see, but I want you to target your attention to this gentleman sitting in the first row with the black suit, Murli D from the Hindu business line, very senior professional. But if you also notice carefully, he's holding a fancy mobile phone, and he's been recording every single talk that's been happening. And I've seen this not only do this in this conference, but he actually invites professionals, somebody like you, to come have lunch with him during lunch breaks at the Hindu office and have the 2 rupee meal. Beautiful meal. You got to check that out. And love it. Now, HR doesn't, I'm sure it wasn't mandated. I don't think they put him on his KRA that you got to do that. But there are some individuals with exceptional talent and energy and the willingness to do some, go beyond and pick up knowledge and share. And these things turns into stories as well sometimes. So that's one, that is branding. So amongst the whole of Indo, I think I would really rate him very high in terms of the ability to grasp technology and put it to good use as well. And that's right, ma'am. Very well said. It helps brand somebody within an organization. And I think when there are good knowledge ambassadors within a company, it will only do good for the company. However, you must have read what Ratan Tata's statement that you just said. That he said that I don't care about the I, it is the team that matters. Right? That's the downside of it. Sometimes it can become a little, the egos can get bloated. So I think it's a fine balance. And that's where a very good social media guideline policy has to be put in place. And it is, I think, the HR team's responsibility as well, working very closely with the marketing communications team to identify the outliers within an organization who have the gift of gab and who would like to be, like to share their knowledge. Not all of them will be comfortable, but some are eager to do that. And I think we shouldn't miss those opportunities. Any organization must really encourage such people to come forward, and they should be given the chance to become official bloggers, to take care of part of Facebook, to send regular updates, and especially for an organization as big as TCS or big companies, it's so vast across countries, across departments, and that's why I love what Microsoft does. Microsoft has this department called Channel 9, whose task is to pick out some of the most interesting information that is happening across the globe in their companies and presents it in a very nice manner. So you need those sniffers as well to take out those information. So that's a very well said point, man. Thank you so much. Somebody else, please. What's so good about it? So I've got a few ideas. All right. So one, Anusha said it very right that gone are the days when you can shut off Facebook and Twitter and YouTube off your organization in the hope that it turns away from being a cyber cafe where people just spend so much time wasting money, like you said, sir, and moving on so that they can just put their focus in their mind. Hell what? I'll tell you this. I called up my cousin who just graduated out and joined a big IT company. I asked her for a phone and said that, can I borrow your phone, please? And she lent me a phone for the evening for this conference. Let me tell you what this one is. This is a Cellcon A19. Looks fancy, huh? Copied every single feature that the Samsung S3 has. You want to name the price? Not that cheap, so what are you saying? It's $6,200. But give 2 years, and it can very well be under 2,000, 3,000 rupees, a smartphone. And one of the first apps she downloaded is a Facebook app, followed by a Twitter app. And she goes and joins this big company, And she says, I spend a lot of time on this. That's the nature of truth, right? No amount of banning will take place because people have access to 3G and they will continue to do. That's why instead of banning, it's important to channelize those energies and give them an opportunity. I like what Cognizant really does. In a way, I think they have a wonderful way of tapping into that energy, positive energy, people willing to express and get them in together for the benefit. And they have a very good intranet coming up in place. That's one. And it's also a great learning and a teaching platform. And honestly, guys, please don't take me otherwise. Would you tell your son and daughter not to go to the library? Raise your hands if you've been raising your kid and asking them not to go to the library. None. We love to have our kids grow up. So why, when we know clearly that internet is the biggest damn library out on planet Earth, why are we shutting it down? They won't be able to handle it in a mature way. True. That's a very well said statement, ma'am. So I'll tell you what, gone are the days, sir, when was the last time you went to a post office, bought an inland letter and mailed the inland letter?
Maybe 10 years back.
Exactly, right? Now people will look differently at you if you did it now. But that's the same case with libraries, guys. 5 years later, the entire concept of a real newspaper might not even be there, right? Because you get news instantly, it might change. And I think it's important for us to change with going times. So I want to tell you something that really opened my eyes out. I have a bucket list of things to do before I want to die. And one of the things I wanted to do was I wanted to learn juggling. For 10 years, 12 years, every time it would be part of my wish list, it would never change. I would go on to YouTube and search for videos, and there's this funky world juggling masters who do 5, 7, 9 balls, very impressive. But until a 13-year-old kid made a small 2-minute video that opened my eyes out. And he says, you want to learn juggling? Very simple. Take one ball, keep your hands like this, throw this one ball and catch it like this. Throw it again, catch it again. You learn 50% of juggling. Then he says, take another one, and as you're throwing, as the ball comes down, throw the other ball. So watch carefully. As the ball goes up and just about to come down, throw the other ball. So let's try this. Do that, repeat that. And he says, you learn 99% juggling. Really. And he says, take the third ball and just rinse and repeat. Just rinse and repeat. Just rinse and repeat. The beauty of having a platform in front of us that will handhold us through. Replace juggling with any technology. Replace juggling with any information that you want to learn. And I think it's time that we take a balanced call. Absolutely certain that people will misuse an open technology. Give an open internet for a person, 8 out of 10 people will use it for YouTube and Facebook, and 2 will use it, right? But I'm sure technology, we can play around technology, but I think just shutting down the entire system and not letting people, I'm not such a big fan of that. Now, very quickly, did you enjoy your lunch? Did you like the firni that they served along with the jalebi? Right? It is good. I especially love the firni. I don't know about you guys. But imagine if that is all that they served. If the entire meal this afternoon was just sweets. Just sweets. None of us, no matter how much of a sweet pirier you are, you wouldn't take that. And that's why we need the diversity. So if you're letting your company, if your company is tweeting and if you're letting your employees tweet as well, because of the strict rules and regulations that you talk anything back against the company, I'm going to take that scale and going to wrap your fingers hard. That pretty much is every company's policy as well. And so we all be politically correct when we talk about. It is such a different language as when we speak as an employee, and such a different language when we come out of the office campuses and just be ourselves. And that's why I love this guy called Robert Scoble. The guy used to be as part of Microsoft much earlier, and he had the guts to say good things, and if there was anything wrong with any Microsoft product, he would also say, he would open his mind out and say that there is something that needs to be improved. So much so that at one point of time, people started believing and trusting this one individual as against believing the PR-driven strict message, squeaky clean messages that were coming out of the Microsoft PR machine. So again, I think we got to give a longer rope, and we got to be a little bit more understandable if someone is talking a little critical, but not below the belt. And I think that's also a sign of maturity, in my opinion. So just wanted to speak my mind out there. Next time you hire, this is my request to you, just like how in any advertisement that we give out for recruitment, there is always a consistent line that comes in everything, and that is says, good communication is a must. Would you agree? No matter what position, right from an intern right up to the CEO, it is almost something that is absolutely required. I want to add one more element to it. And surfing, surfing is that's like reading books and watching movie. But I would go one step, and when you're recruiting, just check out what his clout score is. That's KLOUT. There are sites like Cred, K-R-E-D, and there are other third site called Peer Index. That's P-E-E-R-I-N-D-E-X. So some of these sites actually go through what your presence on a Facebook, on a Twitter, on a LinkedIn, on a YouTube, on a Flickr, and it finds out what kind of an active guy you are. And if you're a marketing guy, and what is your level of expertise in that marketing field, and if you're a HR person, if you're a Java guy, in that particular space, what is your level of expertise and proficiency? And I think it's a great way for us to understand that person better. And just like how, why is Ravichandran Ashwin better than Harbhajan Singh? He can bowl, spin very well, take wickets, but it's also his ability to bat. So while you're getting a super specialist for your line, I think it's also nice to have a guy who can bat, which is just understand social media and leverage it for the company as well. But remember, it can be a dangerous field to get in, because the easiest one to do, and ask anyone, is to just get started with these social media platforms. That's the easiest. Like Anusha said, what? Just start a Facebook page, no? What's the big deal? But that's like gardening. Easy to plant, but what really matters is, can you sustain? And if you can't sustain, I think it'll hurt your brand far more and leave a very bad image out there. So be careful. There are 330 platforms out there. You don't have to be on everything, but if you're getting in, just get one in and nail it hard and plant your flag and own that space before you move on to another platform. So these are some of the ideas that I wanted to have. I think what's really best is if you can open up the floor to the questions, and then Anusha can join me in answering them. Thank you, guys.
I'm assuming the questions will come in plenty. It's a subject that's so exciting. Nobody has all the answers. I have to be honest. I've been in this industry for a while, and I can't go out there and say we have all the answers. But we're also learning, and purely because we're experimenting and exploring a little earlier than maybe many more people, it's nice to share some of our experiences, really.
No, Mr. Kripashankar said no need to ban the social in my opinion, there are almost all companies, if you ask me frankly, as a matter of internet policy, they've banned all the social sites, even job sites, everything. They allowed only intranet, I mean their own mail system only. This is what actually happens in the ground, just the ground reality. So in that situation, how to go about, you are advising don't ban it.
You can't stop. Like I said, you stop it through the,
they'll
use smartphones. See, the only thing that we can do is, I mean, it's a policy issue at the organization, right? There are security related issues. You don't want people to actually send out files. So, and that's an issue that you need to handle at a company level, but you can't still stop an employee from going out there and speaking, and they can do it with many other means. They can go outside of office and do it. So
that is not
the only option at this point of time is to have some social policies in place, right? So you can define some guidelines, some frameworks, and I remember Ganesh saying, right, the other in his, you can't still force a person to say what you want to say, right? So you can only build this absolutely beautiful environment in there such that you're only going to create, positive brand ambassadors for the organization. So it all works, in a very integrated fashion.
No, in my opinion, it may be suitable for IT industry, maybe, because the intellectual levels of the people joining, is much more higher compared to manufacturing or any other setup. So in that type of industry, that may work out, I mean, positively, or they can make it as a force for convergence or their own purposes. But other industries may not be in a position to leverage that. That's what my view.
No, you'll be surprised, and recently I had Honeywell speaking with me, right? So they were talking about, there was an RFP coming out, and it was a government defense related issue, and they asked me about social media and how can we leverage social media in the space. So Logic immediately said, India, government, defense, no, I don't think it's going to work, right? So that's the logic. But we were actually surprised when we tried it. We were surprised to see the amount of engagement that we would create in the social space with the category like that we were talking about. I think the beauty is that the medium is right in front of you. It's happening. Instead of closing minds, this is a time to explore and just see if the opportunity brings you beautiful waves. It's the time to explore. We shouldn't close our minds to anything at this point of time.
Honeywell you talked about is branding their own purpose, you were saying.
No, it was not about branding because there was some RFP and we wanted to kind of trigger some conversations, something. So, yeah, I'm just giving you a little example. But, the target audience was the defense of India, that the government. And Logic said, no, you can't do this because it doesn't work with the defense, the government. Can't imagine, our defense government folks sitting there and actually tweeting on a subject. But we were actually surprised that we could trigger off stuff.
So, to be honest, I don't know your industry very well. And I'm very pro knowledge sharing, and I come with that. So please take what I'm saying with a pinch of salt. And I'm not even pretending like I know your business. All I'm saying is that I think it is a wonderful platform. Definitely it has its own negatives. And like you rightly said, it's one of the biggest time sinks ever. 4-5 hours that kids spend, and it just goes away from productive time. I completely understand that. However, I'm saying that it also has its major positives, and it's time to just look at that and see how we can work around. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and also I guess just to add to what he's saying, even if we don't do anything, the medium will do things, right? You don't want to do things, you want to keep quiet, you think as an organization you want to keep quiet, you don't want to ride this wave. Trust me, you will be in it before you realize. Not directly, but indirectly, people are there. I often tell my brands, you better jump in and do something about this, because if you don't, either way you're in discussion. People are talking about you. They have all the time. They're discussing you. So you may as well join it and see how you want to navigate that discussion. Yeah? All right. Thank you. Yeah? All right. Thank you.
I request Group Captain Vijay Kumar, Executive Director MMA, to kindly hand over mementos to our distinguished speakers, to Anusha Shetty, Mr. Kiruba Shankar and Anusha Shetty.